Beneath the surface of the Caribbean Sea, a silent massacre is happening. A fish that doesn't belong is devouring everything in sight. 90% of native fish gone in weeks. Entire coral reef systems collapsing. $200 million in economic damage and climbing. This is the lionfish invasion, and here's what makes it terrifying. We caused it. A few careless decisions, and now millions of venomous predators control waters they were never meant to inhabit. Scientists call it one of the most devastating marine invasions in history. But here's where it gets strange. The disaster became an industry. People now hunt these invaders for profit, turning ecological catastrophe into cash. The question is, does that make things better, or does it just mean we're profiting from our own mistakes? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how this happened, why we can't stop it, and what it reveals about humanity's broken relationship with the ocean. This entire story will change how you see invasive species forever. Lionfish invasion, how this poisonous fish sparked a $200 million ecological disaster. The lionfish is beautiful. Flowing fins like delicate feathers, striking stripes in crimson and white. It moves through water with an elegance that mesmerizes anyone watching. It's also a killing machine. Native to the Indo-Pacific, lionfish evolved over millions of years in waters stretching from Australia to Japan. In their home range, they're balanced predators, part of a complex ecosystem where other fish know to avoid them, where natural predators keep their numbers in check, where coral reefs have adapted to their presence. But in the Atlantic Ocean and Caribbean Sea, lionfish are apex invaders. No natural predators, no learned fear from prey species, no evolutionary checks on their population. They hunt with ruthless efficiency, consuming juvenile fish that sustain entire reef systems. A single lionfish can reduce native fish populations by 80% in just 5 weeks. This isn't a typical invasive species story. This is about what happens when humans accidentally introduce a nearly perfect predator into waters completely unprepared for its existence. We'll trace the origins of this invasion, how a thriving aquarium trade and human carelessness seeded the Atlantic with a species that would multiply into millions. We'll examine the ecological devastation, the shocking economic costs, and the unexpected twist where an environmental disaster transformed into a commercial opportunity. We'll take you inside the dangerous world of lionfish hunting, the supply chains that emerged from crisis, and the kitchens where chefs turned poison into profit. The first confirmed lionfish sighting in Atlantic waters came in 1985 off the coast of Florida. A single fish, unusual but not alarming. Scientists noted it as a curiosity, probably an aquarium release or a stray from a ship's ballast water. They had no idea what was coming. Throughout the 1990s, more sightings trickled in, a lionfish here, another there. The pattern was scattered, easy to dismiss, but by 2000, something changed. Lionfish weren't just appearing, they were establishing populations, breeding, spreading. The source was almost certainly the aquarium trade. Lionfish became incredibly popular in home aquariums during the 1980s and 90s. They're stunning to look at, relatively hardy, and their predatory behavior fascinates hobbyists. But they grow larger than many owners expect. They're aggressive, and when aquarium enthusiasts decided they couldn't keep them anymore, some made a catastrophic choice. They released them into the ocean. One popular theory traces the invasion's explosion to Hurricane Andrew in 1992. The storm destroyed a Florida aquarium facility, potentially releasing 6 lionfish into Biscayne Bay. Whether this was the genesis point or simply accelerated an existing problem remains debated. What's certain is that by the early 2000s, lionfish had established breeding populations from Florida to North Carolina, and then they exploded.
Lionfish reproduce at staggering rates. A single female can release up to 2 million eggs per year. Those eggs develop into larvae that drift on ocean currents, spreading far beyond where their parents hunt. Unlike most fish species, lionfish reach sexual maturity quickly within their first year. They can live up to 15 years, breeding continuously. The Atlantic and Caribbean offered everything lionfish needed: warm waters teeming with prey, coral reefs providing perfect hunting grounds, and crucially, no natural predators. In the Indo-Pacific, groupers, sharks, and other large predators occasionally eat lionfish. They've evolved to recognize the warning coloration, to approach cautiously, to understand the risk. Atlantic predators had no such knowledge. To them, lionfish were just another fish and not worth the trouble of figuring out how to eat something covered in venomous spines. The invasion spread with terrifying speed. By 2009, lionfish were established throughout the Bahamas. By 2010, they'd reached Mexico, Cuba, and the Cayman Islands. By 2011, they were documented off the coast of South America. Within a single decade, lionfish colonized an area spanning millions of square miles, one of the fastest marine invasions ever recorded. Scientists initially underestimated the threat. Invasive species are common, and most settle into some kind of equilibrium, but lionfish didn't follow the pattern. Population surveys showed densities far exceeding anything seen in their native range. In some Caribbean locations, researchers found lionfish populations up to 40 times denser than Indo-Pacific reefs. The invasion went largely unnoticed by the public because it happened underwater, out of sight. There were no dramatic die-offs washing ashore, no visible collapse that made headlines, just a silent, systematic decimation of reef fish populations happening beneath the surface. By the time scientists understood the scale of the crisis, millions of lionfish had already established themselves across thousands of miles of coastline. The question was no longer if lionfish would devastate Atlantic ecosystems, it was how much damage they would cause before anything could be done.
What makes lionfish so destructive isn't just what they eat, it's how efficiently they eat it. Lionfish are ambush predators with an almost supernatural ability to consume prey. They use their elaborate fins to herd small fish into corners, then strike with lightning speed. Their mouths can expand to swallow prey nearly 2/3 their own body length. Stomach content analyses reveal a horrifying truth. Individual lionfish have been found with more than 60 different fish species in their guts. They're not specialist feeders, they're generalist killing machines. The primary victims are juvenile fish, young snapper, grouper, parrotfish, damsfish, species that form the foundation of reef ecosystems. These juveniles represent the future of reef populations. Remove them and you eliminate the next generation. Lionfish don't just reduce fish numbers, they collapse recruitment, the process by which new fish replace older generations. Studies conducted on Bahamian reefs documented the speed of this collapse. Researchers placed lionfish on previously healthy reefs and monitored the results. Within 5 weeks, native fish populations dropped by 79%. Some reefs saw 90% declines in juvenile fish within 2 months. These weren't marginal impacts, these were ecosystem-level catastrophes. Parrotfish populations suffered particularly devastating losses. Parrotfish are critical grazers that eat algae off coral reefs. Without them, algae overgrows and smothers coral. Healthy coral reefs need parrotfish to maintain the delicate balance between coral and algae. Lionfish predation on juvenile parrotfish triggered cascading effects: less grazing pressure, more algae growth, declining coral health. Some Caribbean reefs shifted from coral-dominated to algae-dominated systems within years of lionfish arrival.
The economic consequences followed swiftly. Caribbean nations depend heavily on reef-based tourism and fishing industries. Healthy reefs attract divers, snorkelers, and tourists willing to pay premium prices for underwater experiences. Degraded reefs mean fewer visitors, less revenue, collapsed tourism economies. Commercial fisheries faced similar devastation. Snapper and grouper fisheries, worth hundreds of millions of dollars annually, depend on healthy juvenile recruitment. Lionfish removed those juveniles before they could grow to harvestable size. Fishermen reported declining catches. Some traditional fishing grounds became economically unviable within a decade of lionfish establishment. Economists estimated the total economic impact exceeded $200 million across affected regions, and that number continues growing. Jamaica's fishing industry reported losses in the tens of millions. The Bahamas, where tourism generates over 60% of GDP, faced threats to the very reefs that draw visitors. Florida's commercial fishing and diving industries watched helplessly as invasive lionfish undermined decades of conservation efforts. But the damage extended beyond simple economics. Reef ecosystems provide crucial services: coastal protection from storms, nursery habitats for countless species, biodiversity hotspots supporting marine food webs. Lionfish degraded all of it. Reefs already stressed by climate change, pollution, and overfishing faced a new threat that accelerated their decline. Scientists consider the lionfish invasion one of the most destructive marine invasions in recorded history precisely because of this multi-layered impact. It's not just one species replacing another, it's a fundamental restructuring of ecosystem function. Lionfish don't just compete with native predators, they eliminate the prey base that sustains everything else. Some researchers compared it to removing wolves from Yellowstone, except in reverse. Instead of removing a top predator and watching ecosystems degrade, humans introduced a new super predator and watched ecosystems collapse under the weight of overexploitation. The sobering reality became clear to scientists by the mid-2010s. Lionfish were permanent residents. Their populations were too large, too widespread, too reproductively successful to eradicate. Traditional management approaches, targeted fishing, population control, couldn't keep pace with lionfish reproduction rates. Computer models showed that even removing 35 to 65% of lionfish populations annually might only slow their spread, not reverse it. Eradication wasn't just difficult, it was functionally impossible. The Atlantic and Caribbean would have lionfish forever. The question shifted from how do we remove them to how do we live with them. And that's when something unexpected happened.
Faced with an ineradicable invader, some communities made a radical choice. If you can't beat them, eat them. The concept emerged from necessity. Scientists and conservationists realized that traditional eradication was futile, but perhaps human consumption could provide sustained population pressure. If people would hunt and eat lionfish, market demand might keep populations at manageable levels. The idea seemed far-fetched. Lionfish are venomous, unfamiliar, and covered in needle-sharp spines. Why would anyone want to eat one? Turns out, lionfish meat is exceptional. White, flaky, mild-flavored with a slight sweetness, comparable to hogfish or snapper. Once the venomous spines are removed, the meat is completely safe to eat. The venom breaks down with heat and doesn't permeate the flesh. Nutritionally, lionfish are excellent, high in protein, omega-3 fatty acids, and low in mercury compared to many other reef fish. The challenge was marketing. How do you convince people to eat a fish most associated with painful stings and ecological devastation? Coastal communities in the Caribbean and Florida launched aggressive lionfish as food campaigns. Restaurants began featuring lionfish specials. Chefs created recipes showcasing the meat's versatility. Conservation organizations hosted lionfish derbies, competitive fishing tournaments where participants hunted as many lionfish as possible, with prizes for the largest catches. The events combined environmental action with community engagement, turning invasive species management into public participation. The messaging was brilliant. Eat an invader, save a reef. Every lionfish consumed was one less predator decimating native fish populations. Eating lionfish became an act of environmental responsibility, ethical consumption that actually helped conservation efforts. The economic response exceeded expectations. Fishermen in areas with depleted traditional stocks saw lionfish as a new revenue stream. A single day of lionfish hunting could yield hundreds of dollars. Some divers transitioned entirely to lionfish harvesting, developing specialized techniques and equipment. Small-scale fisheries emerged, creating jobs in communities where fishing economies had been declining for decades. Florida restaurants began paying premium prices for fresh lionfish, sometimes $8 to $12 per pound. Caribbean islands developed export markets, shipping lionfish to the United States and Europe. What started as conservation-driven consumption evolved into a legitimate seafood industry.
But this success revealed uncomfortable ethical questions. Were humans exploiting an ecological disaster for profit? Does creating an economic incentive around an invasive species risk perpetuating the problem? If lionfish became too valuable, would anyone actually want to eliminate them completely? Some conservationists worry that economic dependence on lionfish creates perverse incentives. If coastal communities rely on lionfish fishing for income, they might resist future eradication efforts, even if new technologies made elimination possible. The invasive species becomes an economic asset, and its continued presence becomes desirable. Others argue this concern is premature. Lionfish populations are so vast, reproduction so prolific, that commercial fishing pressure will never eliminate them. The goal isn't eradication, it's population control. If human consumption keeps lionfish numbers low enough to allow native species recovery, that's victory. The reality is complex. Lionfish markets remain niche, supply chains are underdeveloped, consumer awareness is limited outside affected regions. Most seafood consumers have never heard of lionfish, let alone tried it. The industry hasn't scaled to the point where fishing pressure significantly impacts overall populations. Total eradication is almost certainly impossible. Lionfish inhabit depths beyond recreational diving limits. Some populations exist 300 feet down or deeper, unreachable by most hunters. They hide in reef crevices, shipwrecks, and rocky outcrops where divers can't efficiently harvest them. Even if humans removed every accessible lionfish, deep water populations would replenish shallow reefs through larval dispersal. The lionfish economy represents adaptation, not solution. Humans learn to extract value from an ecological disaster they created, mitigating damage without reversing it. It's a strange kind of success, managing an ongoing crisis rather than resolving it. But for that management to work, people need to hunt lionfish. And hunting lionfish is far more dangerous and difficult than most people realize.
Lionfish hunting isn't fishing in the traditional sense. There are no hooks, no nets, no lines cast from boats. It's underwater hunting, spearfishing with specialized equipment in environments where a single mistake can be fatal. The hunters are scuba divers, free divers, and spearfishing specialists. They descend onto reefs armed with pole spears or small spear guns designed for precision rather than power.
Lionfish typically don't flee when approached. They're ambush predators accustomed to staying motionless, relying on camouflage and venomous spines for protection. This makes them relatively easy to approach, but extremely dangerous to handle. Those spines are the primary hazard. Lionfish possess 18 venomous spines, 13 along the dorsal fin, 3 on the anal fin, and 2 on the pelvic fins. Each spine is covered with a thin sheath containing venom glands. When pressure is applied from a predator's mouth or a careless human hand, the sheath ruptures and venom is injected into the victim. The pain is immediate and intense. Victims describe it as worse than any bee sting, worse than jellyfish, worse than almost any marine injury short of stonefish or box jellyfish. The affected area swells rapidly. Pain radiates up the limb. Systemic symptoms can include nausea, difficulty breathing, and in rare cases, cardiovascular complications. Most stings aren't life-threatening, but they are absolutely debilitating. Hunters develop specialized techniques to avoid envenomation. After spearing a lionfish, they immediately secure it in a specialized container, usually a PVC tube with a one-way opening or a hard-sided container with a secure lid. They never handle live lionfish with bare hands. They wear thick gloves and move deliberately, understanding that rushing leads to accidents. The best hunters work methodically. They spot a lionfish, approach slowly from behind or above, position their spear carefully, and strike quickly through the head or body. Then comes the dangerous part, removing the lionfish from the spear without getting spiked. Experienced divers learn to grip the fish behind the head, avoiding the spine-covered fins entirely, and slide it directly into their collection container.
Some hunters work solo, but most operate in teams. Dive buddies watch each other's backs, help with difficult extractions, and provide assistance if someone gets stung. Safety protocols are critical. Hunters carry first aid supplies, know emergency procedures, and understand that a sting 80 feet underwater is far more dangerous than one on the surface. Traditional fishing methods don't work on lionfish. Hook and line fishing rarely catches them. They're ambush predators, not active foragers that take bait. Nets damage reefs and catch non-target species. Traps show some promise in research settings, but commercial trap fishing for lionfish remains underdeveloped. Spearing is the only efficient method, which means every lionfish harvested requires a diver to physically hunt it. Regulations vary by location, but most jurisdictions encourage lionfish hunting with minimal restrictions. Florida allows divers to take unlimited lionfish, no fishing license required for recreational harvesting. The Bahamas, Cayman Islands, and other Caribbean nations actively promote lionfish removal, sometimes offering incentives or organizing removal events. Some regions prohibit scuba gear for general spearfishing, but make exceptions for lionfish. This recognizes that lionfish removal serves conservation purposes rather than commercial exploitation. Divers can hunt lionfish with scuba equipment, providing access to deeper populations that free divers can't reach. The most dedicated lionfish hunters remove thousands of fish annually. They know specific reefs, favorite hunting grounds, times of day when lionfish are most active. They track populations, notice patterns, develop almost supernatural abilities to spot camouflaged fish against complex reef backgrounds. But even the most skilled hunters face limitations. Rough weather cancels diving. Poor visibility makes hunting dangerous. Deep reefs beyond recreational limits remain untouched. And in many regions, there simply aren't enough hunters to make a significant dent in overall populations. This is where commercialization matters. If hunters can sell their catch for profit, more people enter the field. If lionfish hunting becomes economically viable, it sustains pressure on populations. The market doesn't need to eliminate lionfish. It needs to harvest enough that native fish populations can recover. And for that market to function, There needs to be a supply chain connecting divers underwater to consumers on dinner plates. The lionfish supply chain is unlike any other in the seafood industry. There are no massive trawlers, no industrial processing facilities, no established distribution networks. It's mostly small-scale, community-based, and built from scratch by people who saw economic opportunity in ecological disaster. After hunters surface with their catch, the first step is immediate processing. Lionfish don't keep as well as some other fish species. They need to be cleaned and iced quickly to maintain quality. Many hunters process their catch right on the boat or at dockside facilities, removing the venomous spines before transporting the meat to market. Some hunters sell directly to local restaurants. They establish relationships with chefs, agree on prices, and deliver fresh lionfish within hours of harvest. This direct-to-consumer model works well in tourist areas, where restaurants want to offer unique, locally sourced seafood. A restaurant in Key West or Nassau can market lionfish as both a culinary experience and an environmental good deed, attracting customers who want their meal to have ecological meaning. But direct sales alone can't build an industry. For lionfish to become a sustainable market, there needs to be processing capacity, distribution infrastructure, and consistent supply. This is where small-scale processors entered the picture. In Florida and throughout the Caribbean, entrepreneurs established lionfish processing operations. They buy from hunters, process the fish into fillets, freeze or refrigerate them, and distribute to restaurants, seafood markets, and wholesalers. Some operations remain small, 1 or 2 people processing a few hundred pounds per week. Others have scaled up, handling thousands of pounds, employing multiple staff, and shipping product regionally or nationally.
Pricing remains challenging. Fresh lionfish typically fetches between $6 and $12 per pound wholesale, depending on location, quality, and supply. That's comparable to snapper or grouper, premium prices that reflect both quality and labor intensity. But consumer demand remains limited. Most people buying seafood don't think to ask for lionfish. Grocery stores rarely stock it. The market exists primarily at restaurants willing to educate customers about what they're eating and why it matters. Export markets show promise. Some Caribbean operations ship frozen lionfish to the United States and Europe, where novelty and environmental marketing create niche demand. High-end restaurants in New York, Miami, and Los Angeles occasionally feature lionfish on menus, marketing it as sustainable, invasive species cuisine. But these are drops in the bucket, nowhere near the volume needed to significantly impact wild populations. The industry faces structural problems. Supply is inconsistent. Weather, sea conditions, and diver availability create unpredictable harvest volumes. Processing capacity is limited. Most operations are too small to handle large volumes efficiently. Distribution is expensive. Shipping fresh seafood requires cold chain logistics that eat into profit margins. And consumer education remains a massive hurdle. Convincing people to eat an unfamiliar fish requires sustained marketing that small-scale operations can't afford. Some advocates push for institutional purchasing, school cafeterias, hospital food services, government contracts that could provide consistent large-volume demand. If the U.S. military or public school systems started serving lionfish regularly, it would transform the market overnight. But institutional food services are risk-averse, and introducing a new species into their supply chains requires regulatory approval, safety assessments, and menu redesigns that take years. Despite these challenges, the market persists. Hunters continue harvesting because prices remain decent. Processors stay in business because demand, while limited, is stable. Restaurants feature lionfish because customers respond positively to the conservation narrative. It's a small industry, but it's functional, and it provides crucial economic incentive for continued removal efforts. For hunters, knowing they can sell their catch makes the dangerous, labor-intensive work worthwhile. For communities, lionfish income supplements declining traditional fisheries.
For consumers, eating lionfish provides a tangible way to contribute to reef conservation. But between the ocean and the dining table lies one critical step: processing venomous fish into safe, delicious food.
Preparing lionfish requires skill, respect for the fish's defenses, and precise technique. This isn't gutting a snapper or filleting a tuna. This is carefully dismantling a venomous animal while ensuring no one gets hurt and the meat remains pristine. The first step is always spine removal. Before any other processing happens, those 18 venomous spines must be eliminated. Professional processors use heavy-duty kitchen shears or specialized spine cutters. They grip the fish firmly behind the head, avoiding the pectoral fins where spines can catch unwary hands, and systematically clip each spine as close to the body as possible. Dorsal spines first, working from head to tail. Then the anal spines beneath the fish. Finally, the pelvic spines near the head. Some processors prefer to remove the entire fin structure, cutting around the base of dorsal and anal fins and pulling them away from the body. This ensures no spine fragments remain embedded in the meat. Others carefully trim each spine individually, leaving small stubs that pose no danger. Once despined, lionfish process like any other fish. The meat is completely safe. The venom is contained only in the spines and doesn't permeate muscle tissue. Even if venom residue contacted the meat during processing, cooking denatures the protein-based toxin, rendering it harmless. Filleting follows standard technique: a sharp knife along the spine, following the bone structure, separating flesh from skeleton. Lionfish have relatively large fillets for their body size, good meat-to-bone ratio. The flesh is white to pale pink, firm but not tough. There's minimal bloodline, less than many reef fish. Skin removal is optional. Some chefs prefer skin-on for presentation. The distinctive striping makes the fillet visually striking. Others remove it, feeling the skin carries stronger flavor some diners find off-putting. The skin itself isn't dangerous. No venom glands exist there. Nutritionally, lionfish excel. High protein content, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, low mercury levels compared to larger predatory fish. Because lionfish are relatively small and young when harvested, most commercial catch is under 2 years old, they haven't accumulated significant mercury or other contaminants. This makes them safer than tuna, swordfish, or older grouper for regular consumption. The taste profile is what sells chefs and diners. Mild, slightly sweet, very white meat with a clean flavor. It doesn't taste fishy the way some species do. The texture is firm but flakes easily when cooked, holding together on the grill or in a pan without becoming mushy. Chefs compare it favorably to snapper, hogfish, or high-quality grouper. Versatility is another strength. Lionfish adapts to virtually any cooking method: grilling, pan-searing, deep frying, ceviche, sushi. Caribbean chefs serve it in traditional preparations like jerk seasoning or coconut curry. Florida restaurants offer it blackened or as fish tacos. High-end establishments prepare delicate preparations showcasing the meat's quality. The rebranding of lionfish as premium seafood represents remarkable marketing. A decade ago, most people viewed lionfish solely as dangerous invaders. Now, forward-thinking chefs frame them as sustainable, ethical seafood, a choice that supports conservation while delivering exceptional quality. Food media embraced the narrative. Articles in culinary magazines, features on cooking shows, celebrity chef endorsements all helped normalize lionfish consumption. Some restaurants make it a signature dish. They educate servers to explain the lionfish story to customers. They market it explicitly as invasive species cuisine, making conservation part of the dining experience.
For environmentally conscious diners, ordering lionfish feels like activism, a purchase that directly contributes to solving an ecological problem. This culinary transformation was essential to building the market. Without chefs willing to experiment, to feature lionfish prominently, to educate customers, the entire economic model collapses. Hunters need buyers. Processors need restaurants willing to pay premium prices. The supply chain depends on consumer acceptance, and that acceptance came through the kitchen. But even with growing culinary acceptance, even with hunters harvesting thousands of lionfish annually, even with small-scale industries emerging, the fundamental problem remains unsolved.